Hello everyone, this is StrawberryShorty doing a recap and review of episode 1 of the new Netflix Resident Evil series, which I believe is called Welcome to New Raccoon City. So, I should probably give a quick aside. I've been meaning to do a channel update on this, but I'm kind of semi-homeless right now for certain reasons, had to kind of leave my home, so I don't have access to my computer or my editing software, so I'm really nervous trying to record this all in one go without my computer or the ability to edit scenes or put anything on this, so I drew this picture to serve as a background. But, so the audio might be a little weird here. I am actually recording this with my camcorder, which that's actually how I recorded my very first video, which ironically was also a Resident Evil Netflix series. So, funny how that turned out. And as you all know, I'm a long-term Resident Evil fan, and like pretty much everyone, a little apprehensive about this because, well, you all know. So, we kick off with a future scenario set, I believe it's 14 years after the end, where a grown-up Jade is like doing some sort of experiment on the zombies, which they call zeros in this, and I hate that. It just seems stupid, like they're clearly zombies. But whatever. And I felt so bad for that little bunny rabbit. Like, poor animals in these games. Well, series, whatever. But, yeah, so she's doing some kind of experiment. And I had a weird, like, kind of audio glitch where it started playing audio from a later point, and the visuals weren't right either, and I don't know if anyone else experienced this. I thankfully realized eventually something weird was going on and restarted, but... So she's doing this experiment with this bunny and whatever, and I gotta say, her outfit and her hairstyle makes me think of, like, Michael Jackson from that one music video. Is it Bad or Thriller? I don't know. I'm not super familiar with the music videos. I could not get that out of my head. And zombies, I'm not really sure how I feel about them in this. They definitely look better than Welcome to Raccoon City zombies, but they look more burned than, like, rotting. But I guess that's supposed to be kind of intentional. We'll get to that a bit later. But, so, she stupidly ends up cutting herself because, of course, when you're doing this super dangerous experiment, you're going to leave some of your skin exposed, so that kind of thing can happen. Ends up getting chased by a bunch of the zombies and triggers this fire thing, which I guess is supposed to be like some pre-set up like emergency trap. And then like this red dust gets spewed everywhere, which I guess is supposed to extinguish the flames, but it was still like super strange. And I didn't really like everything coated in red. Just very weird. And I'll give them credit, though, the scene with the zombie slowly burning to death was pretty horrifying. And then Jade gets attacked by a giant worm monster thing, which I think it's a little too colorful, but, like, I'll give it credit in that it actually looks kind of like a Resident Evil monster, which, again, Welcome to Raccoon City just did not really have anything like that. So... yeah, so that attacks her, and then we shift back to, like, 14 years earlier, 2022, 3 months before the end. We are in New Raccoon City, which is the standard futuristic Umbrella-owned city, and everything is freaking white and sterile, and it's like, why would anyone want to live here? Jade sure doesn't, and Billy, her sort of twin sister, is just like, you know, let's just... make it work. And there's also a cute dog. I don't know if the dog has a name or is relevant in any way, but there's a dog. And they get there. Their dad's Albert Wesker, apparently. The whole time I'm seeing this, I'm still kind of wondering why this guy was called Albert Wesker and not just made some random umbrella scientist, because he doesn't look like Wesker, and we'll see like what his role is. But they arrive at their new home, meet some lady. I think her name is Claire. I'm not sure who she's supposed to be, but she like... she introduces herself, like, oh, welcome to the house, and Jade is being all snippy, and Billy still just wants to make peace. I did find some of Jade's comments funny. I'll say that. I don't really blame her. Like, I mean, right now I'd love to live in this house or any house, but like this whole town is just so sterile and creepy, you know? And there was apparently some incidents in the past with Billy at school that she's stressing out over, like a time when she let all the frogs out in like the bio lab, because apparently she's vegan and she's pro animals. But there was apparently another situation where she broke a kid's leg because he was bullying another student when she was a child, and everyone thought she was a freak and she had to get like therapy, and she doesn't want that anymore. But me, as someone who's been bullied, it's like I think I kind of would have liked it if someone would have come along and broke those kids' legs. So yeah, we flash back to the future. Jade is nearly killed by a giant colorful worm monster. Then random men with guns show up, kill the monster, take note of her injuries, but confirm she's still alive. And then they recognize from a tattoo on her wrist that she is apparently a survivor. And that makes her interesting to them. But then we shift right back up to the past again, where Wesker is apparently taking blood samples from, where he's taking blood samples from Billy, and Jade gives him hers on her own. Apparently that's a thing he does like every 2 weeks, which, you know, ouch. But it's also really weird because, like, what's up with that? You know, what does he want these samples for? And we actually do see him injecting one of the samples into himself, which is super weird. And then the girls start school, and Billy doesn't sit with her sister because a bunch of other people rush off to do so. And there's this girl, we later learn her name is Tammy, but she kind of seems like she might be a kindred spirit to Billy at first, because like no one wants to let her sit with them either. So she goes up to Billy and starts talking to her, learns how the girls are twins with like different moms, like the surrogate delivered at the same time, but they have the same dad. I don't know. It was a weird explanation. But so this girl actually turns out to just be like a nasty bully. She mocks Billy for being vegan, brags about how her dad took her hunting, and when Billy snaps and is like, gives her the middle finger, which, do kids these days still do that? But when she does that, the girl attacks her and is like beating her up, and, you know, the awful other kids take a video of it, and Billy is upset and humiliated, and it was just terrible. So we cut to this commercial for Joy. I'm sure you've all heard of Joy by now. It's been advertised a bit, which is supposed to be some sort of antidepressant, and the commercial is really, yeah, it's an umbrella commercial, all right? Like, it's just so over the top. And Wesker is actually not on board with this, because he's like, this is a serious product about serious depression, and you have this woman who's super happy, and like, why does she need this? And I don't think that's entirely accurate, because I think often medically treated depression is when you are depressed when everything seems like it should be going great, but at least he seems to care. Girls come home, they're super ticked off, they see the video, it's not great, and Jade is just like trying to convince Billy to stand up for herself because she's a laughingstock. And yeah. So we cut back to the future again, where Jade wakes up in like a sort of makeshift med thing, meets the guy that saved her, whose name is Tate, and learns that he's part of a group of scavengers. She wants to return to her group and get her supplies, but there's zombies everywhere, so not an option. Back to the past. It's really hard to remember to say past. I think I might keep saying present, but back to the past. Jade is still trying to get Billy to go up and just punch this girl, which I don't think that's a good idea. Like, don't punch her unprovoked. But she tries to get her to do that, and instead Billy apologizes and like, let's be friends, and it's just like, Billy, no. And Tammy, being the horrible person she is, she's eating this like burrito thing, and she smashes it in Billy's face, and Billy storms off, and she looks like she's gonna snap, and I kind of want her to snap. I'm just like, turn around and punch her in the face. Like, seriously? And we go back to Wesker, who's watching what they're calling this Tijuana incident, where a bunch of people died and got injured. Back to the school, we have this weird thing of like Tammy walking and playing a game, and there's like this person in a mascot, in the raccoon mascot head watching her, and whoever this raccoon person is, they attack Tammy while she's hiding out in the bathroom playing her game. Billy gets blamed, and the raccoon suit thing is found in her locker. It's not 100% clear what happened to Tammy beyond she was hit in the head in some way. So they're in the principal's office, and Tammy's dad is all like, this girl's a psycho. She attacked my daughter. She's going to go to prison and be locked away for like 10 years. And the principal lady or whatever isn't much better, because it's like, oh, well, she has a history. And I'm just like, someone please point out the horrible stuff this girl did first. So then Wesker shows up. And, like, I've said repeatedly, I don't know why they called this guy Wesker. He could have just been a different character. I will say this is the one scene so far where he did kind of feel like Wesker. Like, if Wesker was a loving parent, I feel like this could be him. Because first he calls out the dad on threatening his daughter. And is like, you know, what do you do for Umbrella? You're like a server admin guy. Like, anyone could do what you do. You know who can do what I do? Me. Just me. I could get you fired. I could have you blacklisted from tech altogether. And, like, it's a genuinely, like, kind of creepy, threatening conversation that does fit Wesker. But I'm still waiting for someone to, like, point out the fact that it's not Billy's fault and that Tammy is the aggressor. And he does eventually do that. He's like, your daughter attacked mine twice, and, you know, I think you need to make her apologize. So that was an actual good scene. Wesker acknowledges he hasn't been a great father, invites Billy to lunch, and we kind of get a glimpse of Umbrella's automated security system where they have a facial recognition thing and a voice recognition thing. And whatever. Oh, I'm jumping ahead a bit. That's actually in the future, but what actually happens next, because I've got my finger on the Netflix thing playing it, because this doesn't pause. This camcorder does not pause. So, Billy leaves, and she's upset with Jade, because she's like, I know what you did. So I guess the implication is that Jade is the one who attacked Tammy, but then why put the evidence in your sister's locker? Like, you want to defend me, go ahead, but don't let me get blamed. Then we jump back to the future, and we get some information on the outbreak from Tate talking to Jade, where we basically learn that the zombies are actual humans. Like, they're not... You know, the air kicked on. I don't know if you guys can hear that. You probably can, but nothing I can do about it. So we learn that the zombies are actual people. The virus just messed with their brains. And there's not a lot of humans left. And yeah. And so it basically comes out that as a original survivor, Umbrella is interested in Jade, and Tate points a gun at her and he wants to collect the bounty on her. Then we shift back to the past and see the whole thing with Umbrella's automated security system. And we get our look at Umbrella, which is, you know, you've probably played the Resident Evil 2 remake. It's pretty much just this super sterile building. Oh yeah, and they show this thing with this dancing holographic teddy bear, because apparently they're making Joy for kids now. Isn't that fantastic? And our animal lover Billy sees a bunch of bunnies in like a case and realizes that Umbrella is doing animal experiments. And later that night in her room, Jade comes in to apologize, and apparently she just did this so that the other kids would think that Billy was cool, which I guess they now do, but she's desperate to make it up to her sister, so Billy is like, well, Umbrella's doing animal testing, which is horrible, and they're lying about it, and they got like an award from PETA, so let's go break into the multi-million-dollar corporation and free all the bunnies and expose what they're doing and ruin our father's work. And they get past the security system in an incredibly embarrassing way by wearing hats with lights on them and using a recording of their father's voice. And it's like you want to be mad that their security is so terrible and be like, well, that's unrealistic. But then you remember just how many of these incidents Umbrella has had. So, you know, we joke about it all the time, how terrible Umbrella's security is. So they find a room with a bunch of animals that are being tested on. Jade finds a video of the Tijuana incident. Oh my gosh, I think I skipped to the next episode. Ugh. There's no previous episode button on Netflix, so I think I jumped ahead again. I swear. I'm also using an ancient iPad for this, because, well, that's a long story. Oh, that is so annoying. I wish I could pause this. Oh, wait, let me try the episodes button. There we go. back to episode 1, because I think I might have jumped ahead again in terms of... Because I just watched this, and I'm some like, mentally skipping ahead. Okay. Okay, so right after they get inside, before they find the animals, we shift back to the scavengers, and Tate reveals that he wants to get into Umbrella's, I don't know, I guess they have a special zone or whatever. And it's like, you're an idiot. Like Jade realizes it. She's like, they're never going to let you in. You're compromised or whatever. And it's like, yeah, they're probably just going to kill you. Or just leave, but they're probably going to kill you. And so the Umbrella shows up, armed guards everywhere, and some lame guy in a suit shows up. I think his name is Baxter. And, yeah, he immediately shoots Tate dead. And then the men just start shooting everyone. Then we shift back to the girls finding the animals in the past. And they find, like, a joy capsule that's doing, like, a joy trial thing. But for some reason, inside is a Cerberus, zombie dog. I'm not sure why that's in there, but it chases them. And... like, again, I'll give it credit. It looks like a zombie dog. Still better effects than Welcome to Raccoon City. They manage to escape the room. But they are... like, the dog starts pounding the other room. Because the way it shuts, it looks like an elevator. And then they escape and they leave what I thought was an elevator. And then the dog starts, like, pounding the door and denting it. And I'm just like, did the dog take the elevator? And they have a fairly tense scene where they hide. And I'm just like, why are you hiding? Why aren't you running for the exit? That's what I would be doing, you know? But anyway. So the dog attacks the girls and seems to be, like, mauling Billy. It's not 100% clear what exactly the dog is doing to her, but Jade grabs a fire extinguisher and beats the living daylights out of it. And, like, again, I will give it credit that this is a fairly good scene. Like, it does feel like a tense encounter because you just have two normal girls dealing with, you know, monsters. So dog is dead, but apparently so is Billy. There's not really, like, a lot of blood, but she's not moving and her eyes are open, and Jade is very upset. It's definitely implied that she's dead, but it's like, I don't buy that she's dead because it's Resident Evil. No one really dies in Resident Evil in that kind of circumstance. So then we flash back to the future, or flash forward to the future, I guess, where Jade is running and runs into Baxter, who I guess wants her alive because he doesn't just gun her down, which makes you wonder why he did the open fire thing earlier, because he could have killed her. And he informs her that her sister is looking for her, so I guess Billy really is still alive. But Jade's reaction is, she initially seems shocked, and she does that kind of slow turn thing, so I thought it was going to, like, have Billy be behind her, which would make no sense. But it doesn't happen. Instead, she's just like, stay away from me. And then she runs and she jumps into the crowd of zombies that are like 20 feet below. And then the episode ends. So I'm still not sure where this series is going or if I'm going to like it. I will say I am interested so far. It hasn't been terrible. It hasn't been super captivating either, because we only really have, like, I feel like 3 main characters, Billy, Jade, and Wesker. But I am interested to see more. I don't know how I'll go about recording more, because I really don't have much time alone to record. And I made up one thumbnail for this before I left, and like I said, I don't have any of my editing software. I do have my my external drive, but... So, I'll give the first episode a fairly positive review. Again, I keep comparing it to Welcome to Raccoon City, and it definitely felt like it did more Resident Evil-y type things. It still feels kind of separate, though. Like, it keeps making me wonder why they bothered trying to make Wesker, like, the dad, Albert Wesker, when he could have just as easily just been a completely different character. I'm also not sure why this is New Raccoon City, because it's in Australia, but I gotta go. So, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the series, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!